your mind, Matt, what's the final takeaway here in terms of, is there something we should be looking for in terms of what the U.S. is going to push for or next steps? What does that look like in your mind?
Yeah. So final takeaway, I'm going to build this on what we're seeing in the world bond markets, right? So your investment grade 10-year sovereign debt rates, right? And everybody's got their eye on the treasury, right? Treasury yields up. Oh, if you look at SOFR, futures right now, hey, we're actually looking at a potential hike from the Fed becoming more and more probable in late Q3 or Q4, September, October type of thing. It's up to a 40% probability as of this morning, Thursday, March 26th, of a hike, right? So everybody's got their eye on the US. What is it going to do about inflation, et cetera? I'd argue it's the opposite. Look towards the other G7 countries, uh, France, Germany, UK, Australia. These debt markets are looking very poor from a technical standpoint, right? And they're hitting their all-time highs. They're the ones at risk of breakout. So the check has been passed to those countries to deal with. As we said, in a lot of these, we're going to come to find out we're servicing this IRGC regime. Um, and maybe they can say, oh, it just got past our regulations, whatever. But the point is they didn't go in and root it out, right? Um, so I think the final takeaway here I want to leave this week, this could play out either way. Like nothing is written in stone in terms of how things play out in war, right? This could go multiple ways, but expectations, if this goes the route for what's been agreed upon, what I think it looks like has been agreed upon for the end game um, between the Gulf Coast countries, the U.S. and China. I think that what does the U.S. have to gain here? Expect this U.S. kind of sovereigntist coalition to pick up a choke point territory, something like Strait of Gibraltar, Singapore, Hong Kong, et cetera, that these European powers picked up for multiple occasions over the last the back half of the second millennia, right? Post
Yeah.
AD. Um, that will give it a nexus of control both for the physical and financial movement of goods and capital through this key choke point. And if this completes this way, um, this could last hundreds of years, right? The key thing is who are your partners in the region? It's the stable countries, nation states, et cetera. I mean, a lot of them are monarchies, right? In the Gulf Coast. And then um, kind of a steady state agreement with China. It gets to build out economic infrastructure and connect. We talked about revitalizing the land-based Silk Roads, right? We talked about that a lot in our episodes. U.S. will acknowledge, yes, China, you're good to do that. And you see Iran occupied not by a power such as the European powers of UK or Russia, which both of those two say you can't, it is not acceptable for either one of those from the other side to uh, hold that ground, right? Um, and so the steady state that looks like something that works for all parties is GCC, equity ownership, China infrastructure ownership and development, and then US financial ownership of the choke point, and then hopefully the goal is this the U.S. capital base doesn't operate this the same way that the legacy colonialists,
Right.
operators did the same way for 300 years, 400 years, that everybody wants to see that go away and we move on to the next model. So that's the big takeaway here. That's what's at stake. This is huge. And I think we can all agree the media should be held to a higher account to do a better job informing people about this.